Hi everyone, it's January 2018 and at the end of this month I'm releasing a new book called The Fledging of Hawkwings. In this video I will be unboxing the proofs, hardcover and softcover, of this new book that I received from Ingram Spark. Then I will compare these new proofs to the proofs that I got for the prequel, I guess, the book that I wrote first before this book, Hawkwings Tale, just to see if the quality has changed at Ingram Spark over the past couple years. Along the way, I'll be talking a bit about Ingram Spark, my experience with them, what I think about the quality of their work, what they charge, etc. And might talk a little also about how I made this book. And at the end, I'll just kind of do a little brief plug about if you want to get this book, here's how you can do it. First of all, Hawkwings Tale is the first book in the series. I originally published it in 2015 using Amazon's CreateSpace, and then in 2016 I did some illustrations for it. I went through and did another proofreading, caught some more typos, and did an updated version, an illustrated version that I published through Ingram Spark. These are the hardcover, softcover, and this kind of medium-sized one is the CreateSpace version. The CreateSpace version is 6 by 9 inches, which in my personal opinion is kind of a little too big for a paperback, but that seems to be the trend these days, that paperbacks are getting bigger than they used to be when I was a kid and there was one standard trade paperback size. The little tiny one is 5 by 7, that's my Ingram Spark paperback. The hardcover is also 6 by 9, which is I think appropriate size for a hardcover, also made by Ingram Spark. Although the overall dimensions of the hardcover itself tend to go more towards like 6 1/4 and 9 1/4, but the book block, which is the paper, is 6 by 9. What I'm opening today are the softcover and hardcover from Ingram Spark of The Fledging of Hawkwings, the second book in this series. At this time, I've not done another CreateSpace book with The Fledging of Hawkwings, and right now I'm not intending to. So Ingram Spark has packaged these two proofs pretty well in cardboard, which is relieving as some places send books in bubble envelopes. This one turns out to be the soft cover, which is the same dimensions as the soft cover of Hawkwings Tale, so they're a nice matched set. I'm pretty happy with them so far. They appear to have about the same spine width, and I noticed that on the cover here there's some little black ink flecks all over the sky, which certainly were not there in my original art. I'm hoping it's just a printing error. So the inside, I had them printed on cream paper, which is the same as the first in the series. The font is a little bit smaller in the second one because the book was longer, and the longer your book is, the more pages, the more expensive it is to print. And I was really trying to keep the price as low as possible, but Ingram Spark is still pretty dang expensive. The backs are different this time. I didn't match them exactly, but I'm overall happy with how it turned out. It looks pretty good. There's some illustrations in it. I did 20 illustrations both for Hawkwings Tale and 20 different illustrations, all in black and white pen and ink, for The Fledging of Hawkwings. I did the illustrations on 9 by 12 Bristol board, then had them scanned and cleaned them up in Photoshop. Then I inserted them into my InDesign document with the rest of the text to make them a part of the PDF that I sent to the printer. On to the next box. This is going to be the hardcover, which also is the same dimensions as the first one, same dimensions as Hawkwings Tale. Again, the book is a bit longer as far as word count, so I did do some adjustments like making the font a little bit smaller, adjusting the tracking, in order to make the book a little bit shorter in page count. I am really, really happy with this art, if I do say so myself. Luckily, on the hardcover, I'm not seeing these black flecks in the background that are present on the softcover, which just reassures me that it's not the fault of my PDF. It's a printing problem. Again, like Hawkwings Tale, I had it done in gray cloth. They again put a sticker on the back, which is going to leave glue gum on the cloth if anyone tries to take that sticker off, which is unfortunate. The slipcover, I chose the matte finish Of course, I downloaded my template from Ingram Spark to get exactly the dimensions necessary. The paper is also cream, just like the softcover, just like Hawkwing's tail. And it looks pretty good. I put illustrations in this one also, the same illustrations, they just get to appear a little bit bigger. An opinion of someone else that I showed these books to was that the printing of the book block, that's the part with all the text, not the cover, of the softcover and the hardcover might be crisper and tighter than the softcover. I'm not sure why that would be, because I think they come off the same printer with the same press, the same ink, the same paper, and they're just bound differently. But it could be true. Maybe it's also because my font is pretty small in the softcover, and so maybe it's just not as crisp because some of the lines are too thin on it. One thing I notice here, and I don't know if it's easy to see or not in the video, but this paper is kind of thin. I mean, paperbacks traditionally kind of do have thin paper. If you go back and look at a paperback from the 80s, it's like practically on newsprint. But I can see the illustration through this page. Of course, this page doesn't have much text on it, and the illustration is pretty dark, but it does seem kind of thin, not really ideal. Of course, if the paper were higher quality, and then they'd be thicker, and then the book would be thicker, and the book would be more expensive, and then it would be more expensive than it already is, which would be unfortunate. I mentioned that Ingram Spark will provide templates for you to download, which I always do. For the cover, Ingram Spark has a template generator on their website where you enter the dimensions, etc., of what your cover is going to be for your book, for which you need to know how many pages it's going to be, so you can't do this first. First, you have to make your book block, and then you go download your cover. You can get a PDF or an InDesign template, which you will then need to assemble your cover on digitally. You'll have to get your cover digital, even if you do it with traditional media, eventually, because you have to send a PDF to Ingram Spark. For the interior, for the book block, I don't think Ingram Spark provides a template, but I haven't checked in a while, so that could change. Maybe it already has changed. But when I did it, what I was having to get was just a file creation guide, which I think is really important. Really, you really need to get this and read it thoroughly and understand it. And if you're not the one putting together your book block, of course you don't. But if you're going to, because like I did, it has all the information that you need to put together a book block file, PDF, the way Ingram Spark wants it. Because there's a lot of things where if you run your text off the edge of the page, they don't care. They'll print it anyway. But there are certain things that they can't print or they won't print. Not like censoring, but I mean like if you set up your file wrong, if the DPI is way too low, or other things that the printer actually can't handle printing. It just can't do it. So you have to look up that. And I went and got it. I read through it. I set up my file. But one thing that I noticed that I disagree with is the margins that they give for the gutter, the part where the two pages come together at the spine. I think the margin they give for that is just way too small. When I've printed it using their guidelines, my text, it runs into the gutter, especially on longer books, and I can't see the text very well. So I have been adjusting my gutter wider in all of my books now to make it so the text doesn't run into the gutter. So that's about it. I think the hardcovers look great. I do all of my books myself from beginning to end. I do the writing, I do the editing, I do the design and layout and InDesign, I do the illustrations. Sometimes somebody else scans them for me, but then I clean them up in Photoshop, I drop them into the InDesign file, I do the covers, I make the PDFs, I do it all. So here we are comparing the two hardcovers together, both cream. Again, Fledging of Hawkwings a little bit longer, so the text a little bit smaller, a little bit tighter. This copy here of Hawkwings' Tale, the one you see on the right, is actually my first proof, and after receiving it I made a few changes to the book, so it looks a little bit differently now. I did not include a table of contents in the Fledging of Hawkwings. I'm not really even sure why I put it in Hawkwings' Tale in the first place, but I took it out. I took out a few other things also just to try to make the book a little bit shorter, because it turned out to be a really long book, which is wonderful. It's a great long story to enjoy, I shouldn't say it's really long, but it's longer than Hawkwing's Tale by about, say, 30% or so. Overall, my experience working with Ingram Spark is acceptable. I wouldn't say I'm completely thrilled. There's a few things. The main thing I don't like about Ingram Spark is that the books are so dang expensive at the retail price, and I'm forced to put the price above a certain amount. So if they say, the base starting price for this book is $30, and if you want any profit, well, then you, the author, jack it up to a higher price. How much profit do you want? $5 profit? Okay, then we're going to, suggest to retailers that they sell at $35, which, it's really expensive. But I don't like Amazon. I don't like Amazon's CreateSpace for a few different reasons. One, they don't even offer hardcovers, or at least they didn't used to. Maybe they do now, but they didn't used to. Amazon hates competition, it seems. So their wholesale price to brick and mortar retailers or any other retailer is not the industry standard, but Ingram Spark's is. So brick and mortar retailers will carry Ingram Spark books if you can convince them to do it, but they won't carry CreateSpace ones, usually, to my knowledge. So that's one reason that I prefer Ingram Spark. I also like that I think the contract is a little bit looser. I can purchase copies of the book from Ingram Spark for a lot less, basically at the wholesale price, and then resell them myself at whatever price I want. But Amazon, at least when I signed my contract, had a little sticking point about you can't sell your books cheaper than we sell your books because Amazon hates competition. There's another downside to Ingram Spark, at least a downside for some people maybe, is that I think Ingram Spark doesn't quite do as much hand-holding as Amazon does. Ingram Spark expects you to be a little more independent and capable in making your files yourself. I don't know, maybe Ingram Spark does offer some services of editing and design and all that, but I think last I looked, CreateSpace offers a lot of, hey, we'll make a cover for you, or hey, you can pick from these pre-designed covers, change them a little bit, and then hey, you've got a cover. Other things like that. That's one of the reasons that I see a lot of similar images being repeated in independent CreateSpace publishers. I look at some of the covers and go, oh, that's the same woman looking with a sultry expression over her shoulder as for other books that I saw, or the same close-up of an eye, or the same close-up of a sword or something. But if you don't have the artistic skills to do it yourself and you don't have the money to pay someone, it's better than nothing, certainly. And I don't know if Ingram Spark does anything like that. This is just my opinion, but I kind of see it as a way that Amazon tries to get more money out of these independent authors, independent artists who are trying to just get their stuff out into the world. And my feeling is that if you're an author but you can't do a cover, that's fine, but go find a fellow artist out in your community to do a cover for you. Give your money to them. Don't give your money to Amazon. They've got plenty already. Really, they have plenty of money. Give your money to somebody else that can do you a cover. But Ingram Spark takes a little money from people too. There's a file setup fee with Ingram Spark. It's $50 to set up your files. But yeah, I'm okay with that. They do check the files through, make sure that they're going to be print compatible, and give you a little bit of feedback. They're doing some work, so I'm all right with it. But yes, there is a setup fee for Ingram Spark. So I think that's about all I can think of to say right now about these books. Moment of truth. If you want to buy one, what is it going to cost you? Well, here you go. For the softcover, you're looking at $15.95. That's if you buy it from a retailer. That's a suggested retail price. Again, Ingram Spark set the price for me and then said, okay, you want any profit, add some on. And I think for these books, I added something like $1. So you buy one of my books, I get $1. All right, how about the hardcover? Check it out, $29.95. Ouch. But if you do read my books somehow or other and you decide, oh gosh, you just really love them, I will be very flattered. But if you want the hardcover, that's what is going to set you back. Were you to go and attempt a purchase, you can, of course, find these books on Amazon. I believe Amazon picks up everything that Ingram Spark sells. You can also just take these ISBNs into your own local brick and mortar bookstore, which is what I always encourage people to do. Amazon, I've noticed, doesn't tend to discount my Ingram Spark books. I think, again, it comes down to them not liking the competition. So I always suggest people, if you're going to give this amount of money to someone, go give it to your local independently owned brick and mortar bookstore in your hometown or any other person's hometown that you like. What if you haven't read Hawkwings' Tale and you're curious to go and read that one first? Well, I have put the entirety of Hawkwings' Tale on a website called inkit.com. You can go there completely for free and read the entire book. If you find you enjoy it, feel free to go then and buy a physical copy or buy the ebook off of Amazon. But it's there. You can read the whole thing. I did not put Fledging of Hawkwings up, and I'm really not intending to do it. But you can read the entirety of Hawkwings' Tale on inkit.com. Just go there, search for the title. I'm not sure if you have to sign up or not, but it's there. You can read it. I will be making an ebook of the Fledging of Hawkwings, but I haven't done it yet. But it's going to come out soon. Of course, it will be a lot cheaper than a physical copy. I've got things to do. I haven't gotten around to it yet. I also want to do audiobooks of both of the books, all of my books, but haven't got to them yet. If you're interested in any of my work, you can check out my website, elucidationimages.com. It gives links to lots of different books and other things that I've made. I am contemplating doing something like a Kickstarter, or maybe just ordering a bunch of books myself and putting them up on Etsy or someplace else for near to my cost, which would be probably, knock at least $5, $6, $7, maybe more dollars off of the price to allow people to get the books without having to pay the actual retail price. But I haven't worked that out yet. But if I'm going to do that, I'll put an announcement here on YouTube, also on my Facebook, probably also on my website. So if you want to subscribe to YouTube, subscribe to my Facebook, follow me, whatever, feel free to do that, and I'll try to put an announcement so you can snatch one before they're all gone. So I think that's all. Thanks for watching. I hope this was entertaining in some way, possibly, or educational, helpful. At any rate, thanks for dropping by. If you have questions, you can leave them in the comments and I will get to them as I am able. Have fun making your books. If you come and read mine, I hope you have fun reading my books too. Thanks so much.